Some say Hancock is a Korean beauty. Though she's breathtakingly gorgeous, she's just a pet in the hands of those in power. Others say Hancock has double standards. She beats and scolds everyone else, but has absolutely no resistance to Luffy. Even if Luffy dug up her ancestors' graves, she would just think he wanted to meet her parents. But I think Hancock's lack of resistance to Luffy is inevitable. After all, what slave would resist the warrior of liberation? I'm Zaya Heilang. In this episode, we will take a closer look at the pirate Empress Hancock's life. When she was young, she was born in Amazon Lily, a nation that reveres martial prowess. Because there are no men there, they highly worship violence and strength. In everyone's mind, strength is beauty. Moreover, Amazon Lily is also a pirate nation. When she was just starting to understand the world, she joined Amazon Lily's pride, the Kuja pirates. She thought she would freely sail the seas from then on, but unexpectedly, when she was 12, she was abducted by human traffickers and sold to the inhumane Celestial Dragons. The Celestial Dragons branded the mark of a slave onto her back. From then on, she endured years of inhuman torture and abuse. Those Celestial Dragons were also the first men she had ever seen in her life. This made her believe that all men were like this, a terrifying group of creatures. During one of the Celestial Dragon's sick games, she was forced to eat a devil fruit. This wasn't out of the Celestial Dragon's mercy or kindness, but to make her better at satisfying their bestial desires, just like those chaebol in Korea. After enduring 4 years of torment, when Hancock was 16, a fisherman named Fisher Tiger scaled the Red Line barehanded and liberated all the slaves. She and the two sisters who were kidnapped alongside her cherished this opportunity and fled desperately. Ultimately, with the help of Gloriosa, Rayleigh, and Shaki, the three of them managed to return to their homeland. After returning, she trained hard and quickly developed various combat skills using her love fruit. Her combat power skyrocketed. 2 years later, the 18-year-old Hancock became the Empress of Amazon Lily and also took on the role of captain of the Kuja pirates. Due to her immense strength and reputation, it didn't take long for her to receive an invitation from the world government. Towards the Celestial Dragons and the world government, she harbored an almost instinctive disgust. However, to better protect Amazon Lily from invasion, she chose to accept it. Thus, Amazon Lily enjoyed over a decade of peace. One day, upon returning from a mission, she found a marine battleship waiting for them, led by the Marine Headquarters Vice Admiral Mamanga. He was there to escort the Empress to Marine Headquarters for a joint defense against the Whitebeard Pirates. Because the world government planned to execute the Whitebeard Pirates' 2nd Division commander, Ace, they issued a mandatory summons to the 7 warlords of the sea. She originally wanted to ignore it, but Mamanga informed her that refusing to participate would result in her being stripped of her warlord title. And once her warlord title was revoked, they would be reduced to ordinary pirates. Amazon Lily would be targeted by the Marines, making it hard to have any days of peace. Facing the pressure given by the world government, she unhappily walked out of the cabin, kicking away a little kitten blocking her path with one foot. At first glance, her long legs had the perfect golden ratio of 6:4. Her long dress was slit all the way to her waist, and her innerwear was minimalist to the extreme. Her facial features were flawlessly exquisite. One look at her and only one thought comes to mind, an ice queen. She capriciously told Mamanga that she neither wanted to accept the mandatory summons nor did she want to be stripped of her warlord title. She even went as far as wanting all the cargo on the battleship. Mamanga was furious. Who would agree to such an unreasonable demand? However, his subordinates had already started moving the goods. Facing someone so beautiful, even if she asked for their lives, they would willingly give them. But Mamanga, after all, was a vice admiral. He didn't succumb to her beauty and once again explained the consequences of refusing the invitation. But she seemed to think of a perfect solution. That was to make all the Marines who came to fetch her die in an accident. She jumped onto the battleship and declared to the Marines that no matter what she did, she would always be forgiven. Whether kicking a kitten, tearing off their ears, or even murder, the whole world would forgive her. If you ask for the reason, it is because I am simply too beautiful. As soon as she said this, not only did her own crew go crazy for her, but even the well-trained Marines couldn't control themselves. Seeing this, she slightly parted her legs, tossed her hair back, and used her mellow. All the Marines were instantly petrified. Only the Vice Admiral used pain to dispel his wicked thoughts. Mamanga stated that he couldn't return empty-handed. He would wait right there for another 2 days. She just left him with a "suit yourself," and elegantly set sail back. Returning to her country, her citizens lined the streets to welcome her. Because every time they set sail, they would bring back a vast amount of supplies, she was deeply loved by the people. Even the children would voluntarily use clay to craft statues of her. However, being capricious and haughty, she only complained that the clay was too dirty, and pushed it over with a single palm. If Daidara from next door knew about this, he would probably yell, "Art is an explosion," on the spot. Just as she wanted to have a little drink and rest for a while, the former Empress Elder Nyan somehow barged in. She directly ordered to have her thrown out. Elder Nyan manually hit the pause button. Her main purpose for coming this time was to persuade Hancock to participate in the war. because if she didn't participate, the entire Amazon lily would be set ablaze in the flames of war. But Hancock simply refused to listen. Her body tilted backward, her head also tilting up, one hand on her hip, pointing at Elder Nyan and arrogantly saying, "This is her signature, looking down on people so much she's looking up pose." And then, she grabbed Elder Nyan like a baseball and threw her out the window. Treating an elderly person like this made even her subordinates feel it was a bit too much. But when she acted cute, her subordinates suddenly felt it was completely justified again. She looked at her hand, feeling it got dirty from Elder Nyan's clothes. She then had someone announce that she was going to take a bath. Her bathing is a very serious matter. Everyone must leave the castle. Outside, every few meters there is a guard. At the door, her two most trusted sisters stand guard. The reason it's kept so strictly confidential is because of the mark the celestial dragons branded on her back, symbolizing slavery. To her, this mark not only symbolizes past humiliation and pain, but also, if the celestial dragons find out, the consequences would be unthinkable. So, every time she bathes, she makes a big fuss about it. What is announced to the public is that the three sisters were cursed by a monster named Gorgon before its death. A pair of monster eyes were carved on their backs. As long as they take off their clothes, anyone nearby will turn to stone. Therefore, the citizens all tacitly cooperate with this rule of hers. However, during this bath, someone actually fell from the sky right into her bath. Moreover, it was a man. What was even more fatal was that man also saw the mark on her back. So, he had to die. She used her signature skill, Mero Mero Mellow. But surprisingly, this move was completely useless against the man opposite her. She repeated it several times, but the result was the same. She simply couldn't believe that someone had seen her entire body yet had absolutely no wicked thoughts. Afterwards, it took a lot of effort to finally capture that man alive. During her interrogation, she learned that the man was named Luffy. He was blown away and landed in their country. A blonde Amazon warrior stepped forward to vouch for him. Then, two of her companions also stepped forward. They said they were the ones who brought the mushroom-covered Luffy back. Although she really liked honest people, she still turned all of them into stone. Because this country forbids men from entering, they committed a capital crime. Seeing them petrified, Luffy was furious. He ordered her to turn them back. This is the nation of warriors, Amazon Lily, only the strong are beautiful. Her punishment for Luffy was to fight to the death. First, she sent out a man-eating and bone-eating Black Panther, Bakura, but unexpectedly it was sent flying with one punch, knocking out 3 of its teeth. Dental implants are very expensive, you know. Luffy glared at her angrily. She thought her beauty was enough to make everyone forgive her. But from Luffy's mouth came these words, "You make me sick." This directly triggered her. This time she directly sent out her 2 younger sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold. One had eaten the Anaconda Devil Fruit, and the other had eaten the King Cobra Devil Fruit. She originally thought the twin snake attack would surely crush Luffy to pieces. Facing this situation, Luffy didn't forget to first move the 3 petrified girls out of the arena. After a fierce battle, Luffy unleashed Conqueror's Haki, and then activated Gear 2nd, erupting with supreme combat power. Sandersonia and Marigold were quickly defeated. In the end, Sandersonia's clothes caught fire, and she fell hanging over the spectator stand. This sent a chill down Hancock's spine. Because if this went on, the mark on Sandersonia's back would be seen by everyone. Just at that moment, Luffy leaped up and grabbed onto Sandersonia's back. Even though they had wanted to kill him, he was now protecting them. She was overwhelmed by this spirit. The unbearable experiences of the past flashed through her mind. She burst into tears. For one final test on Luffy, she asked him to choose between saving the 3 girls or sending him out to sea. Luffy didn't even have to think, saying of course he wanted to save the 3 of them. She used to think all men were selfish, but Luffy was different. She was thoroughly conquered by Luffy. Afterwards, she once again invited Luffy to look at her back, because Luffy had said earlier that he seemed to have seen that mark somewhere before. She asked Luffy to carefully recall where he had seen it. But after looking closely, Luffy realized that although it was similar, it was still different. He had seen it on a fishman. Elder Nyan walked in holding a newspaper and delivered a news that shocked her even more. That was the incident of Luffy punching a celestial dragon. She revealed her entire past to Luffy in full detail, the past she didn't want anyone else to know. After telling him her past, she was a bit worried that Luffy would consequently look down on them. But Luffy was very calm and only said one sentence. From that moment on, she fell in love with Luffy and promised to lend a pirate ship so Luffy could set sail. When a woman falls in love for the first time, it's intoxicating. Knowing that Luffy was about to leave, she started becoming very unwell. She couldn't eat, and couldn't sleep. Sometimes, overwhelmed by her feelings, she would blush and have trouble breathing, as if she had caught a severe illness. Elder Nyan could tell at a glance that this was lovesickness. Just then, Luffy came to find her to beg her to take him to Impel Down. A pirate ship was already too late, he had to take the marine battleship that came for her. This way, he could make it in time. This meant she had to agree to the warlord mandatory summons. Originally, she was highly resistant to it, but for Luffy, she was willing to do anything. She'd be willing to go to the ends of the earth. She let Luffy cling to her and hide under her dress. This could be considered combining together, right? If Luffy made the slightest movement inside, she would feel it sensitively. All along the way, they shared the same room. The fantasies in her head simply couldn't stop. If it wasn't the two of them deeply in love, holding hands and exchanging sweet nothings, then it was the two of them kissing passionately. She occasionally covered her face, shook her head, and used a sweet, delicate voice to call out, "Oh, this is too much." While eating, she'd imagined the sweet scene where Luffy opened his mouth and she fed him. Upon learning that Luffy also had two female companions, Nami and Robin, she felt a sense of crisis. She secretly wrote her name and Luffy's name on the wall and drew a heart around them. The 4-day honeymoon trip quickly came to an end. She very smoothly brought Luffy inside and held down. Because visitors must wear sea-stone handcuffs and undergo a full body search, and the cape could no longer be worn, she could only escort him as far as the inspection room. She told Luffy he must be careful and not get caught. Impel Down is not a place anyone can just walk into. Luffy grabbed her hands and thanked her for her help. She felt that this was true mutual affection. Then this life would have no regrets. Later, Luffy's "thank you" lip movements were misinterpreted by her as "I love you." Happiness came too suddenly, and she almost fainted. During the Summit War, Marineford, she used her slave arrow for Luffy. It was a barrage of wild shooting. Her perfume femur was also a flurry of wild kicks, not distinguishing between friend and foe. She was even suspected of helping the pirates clear the way. This naturally drew protests from the Marines. Once again, she brought out her peerless beauty as an excuse, and the Marines were utterly helpless. After Luffy arrived on the battlefield, she stopped pretending completely. When Smoker subdued Luffy, she kicked Smoker away. How dare he strike the men she loved so deeply and pin him to the ground? Her ferocious expression looked like she wanted to eat Smoker alive. But one shout from Luffy instantly turned her into a shy little girl. And she gave the key to Ace's handcuffs that she had acquired earlier to Luffy. Luffy jumped up and hugged her. This made her tremble all over, not knowing where to put her hands. She was so happy she almost suffocated. Even long afterwards, she couldn't calm down. That feeling made her fantasize about a day in the future where she wore a pure white wedding dress and held a grand wedding with Luffy. When her fantasy returned to reality, Smoker was lunging straight for Luffy again. She simply couldn't tolerate this. She directly kicked him with her perfume femur, kicking Smoker's sea-stone jit until it broke in half. After that, it was her signature, looking down on people, pose again. Later, Ace's chest was pierced by a Kainu. The heavily injured Luffy completely fainted. After many twists and turns, he was saved by Law. Red-haired Shanks arrived, sold his pride, "Please do me a favor," and the Summit War came to an end. She immediately sought Law's submarine. She was extremely worried about Luffy's injuries. Knowing that Luffy was covered in wounds and wasn't out of danger yet, she worried to the point of crying. She really wanted to bear the pain for Luffy. Jinbe worried that upon waking up, Luffy would continue to break down over Ace's death. She decided to bring Luffy back to heal his wounds. With her warlord status, the Marines wouldn't go there to search. However, her country forbids men from entering. Luffy could be an exception, but Luffy still needed Law's treatment. Having no other choice, she could only arrange a secluded spot on the coast for them to settle down. When Luffy's life or death was uncertain, she lost her appetite. Upon learning that Luffy had woken up, she personally went to the kitchen and made a huge feast, and despite Elder Nyan's strict prohibition, personally delivered it to Luffy. Along the way, she kept pouring out her grievances, newlyweds having to live apart. She felt she was a tragic female lead. But seeing Luffy stuffing his face, she felt very happy again. Her being afraid that Jinbe would eat too much was also incredibly funny. Later, Luffy decided to follow Rayleigh to a nearby uninhabited island to train. She said she would come every day to bring Luffy food. Rayleigh strictly forbade it. In her anger, she almost pinched Rayleigh's nose off. But Rayleigh said everything was for Luffy's sake, so she calmed down. Time passed very slowly. When the 2-year period finally arrived, she brought a ship full of food early on to pick up Luffy. She fantasized that she had already become Luffy's virtuous wife. When Luffy set out to reunite with his crew, she prepared a huge bag of luggage for him. Food, clothes, daily necessities, everything was included, and it was all enough for several years. To ensure Luffy's safety, she dressed him up tightly and even arranged a fake mustache for disguise. At the final parting moment, she told Luffy, "Watashitachi Kuja Kaizo Kuden Wide Sudimo Sonata no Chikara and Ineru, we, the Kuja pirates, will always be your strength." And Luffy's simple sentence, "I want to see you all again," warmed her heart for a long time. When Luffy set sail, she helped them block the Marine search ships. Maximum girlfriend power right there. Later, with the Levelly World Council taking place, the warlord system was abolished. Amazon Lily no longer had immunity privileges. So waves of Marines came one after another. Amazon Lily's mighty female warriors repelled wave after wave of Marines. Later, Kobe brought the newly developed Pacifista models. They fought all the way to their castle. Kobe shouted from outside the castle that as long as she went with them, they would retreat. But she would not bow to anyone. Just as she was about to personally take care of the Marines, she didn't expect Blackbeard to butt in too. But as long as they entered, they were all enemies. She used Slave Arrow to petrify everyone gathered at the castle gates. However, Kobe was not hit. She followed up with a perfume femur. And at this time, Blackbeard suddenly appeared from nowhere and used Blackbeard's Kurozu, Black Vortex, to seal her Devil Fruit ability. Furthermore, Blackbeard grabbed her by the throat. Blackbeard came to hunt her ability. She told Blackbeard that the petrification ability originates from her own beauty. If you kill me, your subordinates will forever be stone. Even the next ability user wouldn't be able to undo it. But the crazy Blackbeard still planned to snap Hancock's neck. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Rayleigh arrived and bailed her out. But she had already been targeted by all sides. In the end, we can only hope for Luffy's protection. Although the Empress's story is still continuing, her beauty, arrogance, and love-struck nature have already left a deep impression on us. She is undoubtedly the goddess in the hearts of many readers. However, when we clear away the fog of appearances, we will find that Hancock actually also possesses fragility, inferiority, and insecurity. Her infatuation with Luffy, I believe, is mainly not because of Luffy's strength, but because of his complete disregard for the authority of the Celestial Dragons. Her expression of emotions towards Luffy, although exaggerated, shows an unprecedented sincerity. She no longer plays the role of a queen or a victim, but instead allows herself to be vulnerable and dependent. Truly look forward to the day One Piece ends, where she and Luffy can also walk down the aisle just like Naruto and Hinata.